Mimicry is one of the more important techniques in all of anime, and depending on the potency, can be truly broken. We see bits and pieces of it everywhere, from Goku's ability to learn or resist any technique after experiencing it once, to the likes of Rimeru Tempest, the slime from that one anime I really need to watch who everyone tells me solos Goku. But even within Naruto, such techniques are still common. Kakashi himself is nicknamed the Copy Ninja due to his ability to copy any ninjutsu he sees with his Sharingan, which is still a pretty broken ability, but Kakashi's version does have its limitations. While Kakashi may copy any ninjutsu he sees, he can't copy everything. In particular, Kekkei Genkai or techniques his body simply isn't capable of producing. That's the aspect that we're going to change today, but instead of it being Kakashi, we're gonna make it Naruto. Anyone Naruto fights, if he beats them, he'll gain the ability to use their ninjutsu. But I do ask for a bit of your patience. See, there's a lot of techniques in the Naruto world, and I may not remember them all, which means if I accidentally don't use a technique that may solve an issue, that's either because I forgot about it, or, thought it wouldn't be that fun. So why don't you sit back and relax, we're gonna dive right in. But before we do, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Naruto had always been strange. From the day he was born to the current moment, Naruto had been different. The son of the late Hokage and the former Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, Naruto had inherited the tailed beast from his mother, which already made him special. However, he possessed a certain Kekkei Genkai that they had never seen before, and simply could not recreate. They called it unstable DNA. Due to Naruto's natural abilities, he could copy the ninjutsu of anyone he fought and beat, but it still had its limitations. He had to actually beat that person, and if he did, that ninjutsu was his to keep forever. But there were certain reasons why Naruto simply couldn't be loaded up with ninjutsu left and right. It had to be a real battle, with the intent to win. If Naruto held a faux battle with someone just to get their ninjutsu, it wouldn't work. It had to be a real battle with life or death consequences. What did it consider a win or loss? That too was a question. Why it worked this way and what inside of Naruto determined that criteria, they did not know. All they knew was that there was no jutsu he couldn't learn. The only prerequisite was that the battle he fought had to be legitimate. This gave Naruto a lot of potential. There were many jutsu out in the world, many powerful techniques that could make or break a shinobi, and Naruto had the capability to learn them all. He was a promising young man who was believed to possibly grow into the greatest shinobi of all time if he didn't squander this ability, and so they put him in the academy. Despite his ability to copy any technique, they believed he would be the perfect student, but strangely, he had a very hard time keeping up in school. This Kekkei Genkai was a real mystery. Naruto would fail so many times, to the point that it looked like he might just give up. That's when he'd be approached and told about the Scroll of Seals by Mizaki. Mizaki was a secret traitor to the Leaf. He was opportunistic, cruel, and wasn't above using someone for his own gain. Today, he had chosen Naruto. Naruto was in a vulnerable spot from having failed to pass the test. Mizaki knew that he could get the scroll with Naruto's help by offering him the secrets inside. Everyone would think that Naruto was the traitor because that's what they wanted to believe. They disliked Naruto and wanted him gone, so if presented the choice to pick him as a traitor or Mizaki, they would always choose Naruto, and Mizaki could get away scot-free. Hey Naruto, I know you're upset about failing the test, but it's okay. You can always take it again. What's the point? I'll never win. I'll never pass because I don't know how to properly execute the technique they're asking me to do, Naruto said. Mizaki knew he had this in the bag. Naruto was already in his grasp. He was desperate and willing to try anything. This is when Mizaki would offer help, seemingly giving Naruto a way out. Naruto was young and didn't know any better. He knew stealing was wrong and that taking this was going to be wrong as well, but he didn't understand how dire the consequences were. He didn't understand what the scroll truly was or the danger it posed to the village. And so, going by night, Naruto snuck into the Hokage's mansion, entering the office through an open window. As he moved around quietly, he heard the sound of guards patrolling the area outside. Sticking to his tiptoes, he snuck in without so much as a peep. Only the ambient light of the village outside lit this dark room. There was a calmness, a peace to it. It was soothing. Naruto had always loved the nighttime, and this was among the reasons why. However, he didn't have time to be lulled into security by the moment. He had a mission to accomplish, and it was very important. As he walked past all the other treasures, he stopped by a big glass case that possessed a rather large scroll behind it. Reaching out, he lifted the glass container, which suddenly set off all the alarms. Naruto dropped the glass container, shattering it. Oops. There's no way they didn't hear that, Naruto said as he gathered up the scroll and made for the window. He escaped just in time, as the very moment he was gone, Shinobi entered the room to investigate. Naruto watched from afar. "Well, I'll bring it back. I just need time with it," he said. Naruto escaped into the woods where he planned to study. As he looked at the tall and thick scroll, he was surprised to see how small the writing was on it. It was almost to the point of needing a magnifying glass just to read it. Naruto began to look through, and by chance he saw a jutsu called Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. Upon seeing it, he knew beyond a shadow of a doubt he needed to learn this clone technique. And so, as he read it, he proceeded to practice. But as you know, Hiruzen was not going to stand for this. That scroll was a truly priceless piece of history that would also be dangerous if anyone got their hands on it, which made you wonder why he just left it out for even a curious child to grab. He would send out shinobi to find Naruto, among which was Iruka, the teacher that seemed to be one of the few who tried to pay attention to Naruto. With a heart of gold, Iruka was able to look past his own pain and into the hearts of those who suffered. This was an important lesson he would pass down to Naruto, but for now it was important that he find him. Iruka couldn't explain it, but he thought he knew of a place where he could go to look. Getting there, Iruka saw Naruto, and he was speaking with Mizuki. This was when everything became clear. You see, Mizuki's betrayal wasn't just out of the blue. Mizuki had, for quite some time, been accused and investigated for things, including, but not limited to, treason and murder. And as Iruka listened to their conversation now, he knew that those things must have been true, as he was the one who convinced Naruto to steal the scroll in the first place. That's when Iruka confronted Mizuki. "Naruto, don't give him the scroll." Naruto was caught between two people he knew wanted to help him, but they were fighting, tugging him in different directions, and he didn't know who to side with. They both accused the other of wanting the scroll for nefarious reasons, so Naruto made the best play he could and rushed away with it. Mizuki and Iruka had a small fight that left Iruka wounded. However, he was far from out of the game. As Mizuki raced after Naruto, he thought he caught up with him. He attempted to get Naruto to hand over the scroll, but to his surprise, Naruto attacked him. It was Iruka in disguise. Naruto was nearby though. That much Mizuki understood. Tired from playing this game, Mizuki called out for Naruto and told him the truth about why everyone in the village hated him, and why even Iruka did. However, Iruka confirmed that Naruto was the Ninetales, and did kill his parents, but explained how none of that mattered now because Naruto was a promising shinobi and a kind soul deep down. These words moved Naruto to tears and informed him of who his true ally was. He confronted Mizuki, and though Mizuki was a Chunin with lots of experience, and Naruto was not even a Genin yet, Naruto used his newfound abilities to push Mizuki back. And through the use of his shadow clones, he defeated him. And as Mizuki lay there on the ground, bleeding and defeated, something unusual happened. Naruto felt a power rushing through him. There was a glow of light around him, and around Mizuki. A single drop of blood mixed with chakra shot from Mizuki to Naruto. And in that instant, Naruto's mind opened, and he witnessed in his head many jutsu he had never known how to do, yet now he did. It was an unusual feeling, like that of an epiphany. The moment your mind worked out a hard problem and discovered the secret to making it work. The same feeling you get when you have a word on the tip of your tongue but can't remember, and suddenly you do remember and say it. It almost felt like liberation, like freedom, as if this was always meant to be. As if these abilities were always Naruto's, and Mizuki was just holding on to them for him. It was a strange feeling. He had gained abilities not too dissimilar to this before, but this felt new. He felt stronger. He felt like if this were an RPG, he had just leveled up. The scroll would be returned to Hiruzen and Naruto would apologize. Everything would be forgiven and Iruka would dictate that Naruto was now ready to be a Genin and pass him. Naruto was pleased and told he would soon meet his new team and that he should wait. That night, Naruto went home to rest. He wasn't sure if he could. With all the excitement, was he going to be able to calm down enough to fall asleep? Such questions needed not be asked of Naruto, as the moment he sat his head down on the pillow, he was gone. But alas, Naruto was not alone. From the corner, something loomed. Was it a spirit? A demon? What was it? It hovered just above the ground and appeared to be a semi-translucent child, no older than Naruto. The child drew closer to the bed of Naruto as he slept. Interesting, they said as they floated there, picking their nails with the tip of a spectral butcher knife in their hand. They were trying to understand what they were doing in this world. This was not the same village they had come from, and appeared to be a world far different from the one that they had originated. But for some reason, they felt a call, and because of that, they appeared. Standing before this boy, the spirit began to smile. There was something special in him. He had a special ability, and this was not too far removed from their own. As they stood there, they sensed the world around them. There were such high levels of violence all around them. Death was a natural part of life, and they had made it central to their way of being. It was ironic, death bringing life. For a moment, they questioned this, whether this was good or bad, but in the end, determined that it did not matter. Such concepts were lost on them as a being without a soul. As Naruto slept, the being drew closer. "I think we're going to make great partners," they said as they passed into Naruto. Wandering in the darkness of his soul, they stopped when they found something else entirely. "Oh, another demon," they questioned. Kurama opened his eyes, first with shock before narrowing them once more. "Who are you?" Kurama asked. "Greetings. I'm Chara. Like unto yourself, one might consider me a demon. I didn't realize this house was already occupied," they said. Kurama looked down at Chara with disdain. "What are you doing here?" Kurama asked. "I was looking for a new partner, and I thought I found one in this boy. He has a strong soul and is determined enough to do anything he sets his mind to learn anything he sets his mind to learn. His will is strong enough that it alters the world around him, even his own DNA. He seems like an incredible partner." "If you want him so badly, why not let me out then? You can have him." Chara, taking on a more corporeal form in this plane between the real and imaginary, began to walk around. "Why are you in this cage?" they asked. "I was sealed because they're scared of my power." Chara walked around the cage some more. As they did, they looked up at Kurama. "I perceive that you and the boy are connected on a deeper level." Kurama was silent. Chara continued. "Your life forces mix. If you leave his body, you'll take a part of him with you, and he'll die. I cannot have that," they said with a smile. "Still, your power is great, and it will be required for us down the line." "You plan to use me as well? You humans are all the same," Kurama said. For a moment, a vein appeared upon Chara's forehead. They calmed themselves. "I may be human, but I am not humanity. But I can understand the confusion. From here on, you will serve me. I will be your new master." Kurama was stunned for a moment before breaking down into laughter. It wasn't just a small laugh, it was a real gutbuster. It had to be the most hilarious thing Kurama had ever heard. "You, my master!" He laughed a bit longer until eventually his laughing slowed. Suddenly, he exuded a dark aura. "You're a fool. Get out of my presence," Kurama said. "If I ever see you again, I will destroy you." Chara stood there silently, a half-cocked grin on their face. Kurama drew close to the gate. "I will never, ever call a little whelp like you, master." Chara drew closer to the gate as well, pressing their hand against Kurama's nose. Suddenly, their eyes darkened like deep pits as what almost seemed like dark-colored blood began to run from them.
"What makes you think you have a choice?"
Kurama pulled back for a moment, startled. Slowly, he recovered. "You think a scary face is gonna bend me to your will?"
"No, I don't think it will,"
the demonic child said.
"You're too strong for that. There's only one thing in this world worth respecting: power. And I will show you exactly that. I will show you what will happen if you step out of line."
Chara stepped back. With a single swipe of their dagger, the paper holding back the seal was sliced off. The very seal holding Kurama in. The spiral lock itself rent in two. The cage opened. Kurama, still in the shadows, spoke. "You just sealed your fate."
"I already met my fate long ago,"
Chara said.
"I do not fear death."
"Good, because you're about to meet it again." Kurama stepped out of the darkness into the light and went to smash the child, only for the child to flip back. Floating beside them was an empty heart, a shape of a soul now devoid of all the compassion, kindness, and hope that once filled it, leaving only the framework of pure determination. Chara stood there, the blood dripping from their twisted face. Two demons stood, locked in epic combat over control of the one currently sleeping, unaware of their struggle. Kurama once more tried swiping his hand at them, but the child dodged with a nimbleness that mimicked that of shinobi who lived in this world. Kurama wasn't done yet. His tails whipped above his head before smashing the ground before him in an attempt to smash the child out of existence. However, the child stepped to the side and dodged each of them as if already knowing where each of these attacks was going to go. Suddenly, the child let out a swipe of their blade that connected with Kurama. Somehow, they had cut through time and space, extending the reach of their attack, which now left a bleeding mark on Kurama's cheek. The child raced forward and jumped onto one of the tails Kurama left on the ground, as he was stunned by the damage done. As Chara ran up the tail, Kurama flicked it into the air, causing Chara to fly up into the upper limits of the darkness that seemed to extend on forever. Chara began to descend as fast as possible, their blade ready to stab into Kurama's skull. Kurama saw them coming though and jumped up into the air and batted them to the ground. Chara hit the ground in water, skidding, leaving a smear of blood as the shoulder of their green and yellow striped sweater was torn. Flesh torn away, bone and sinew were all that could be seen of the wound. Chara looked down for a moment before looking up to Kurama again.
I've waited so long for someone as impressive as you,
they said. Taking their finger, they ran it over the wound, collecting their own blood before licking it off the finger. Chara rushed at Kurama again, and Kurama prepared for the next attack. Chara snapped their fingers, and in the air appeared crimson daggers that began to fly at Kurama at incredible speeds. Kurama used his tails and cracked them like whips at the daggers, shattering them each one by one in an effort to defend himself. Suddenly, a large knife, without warning, emerged from the ground below him, impaling Kurama through the torso and out the back. Kurama cried out as his body was lifted off the ground by the massive blade. Kurama had only ever faced one human with comparable strength, and he had spent years in his own mind replaying that over and over again. Never again would he lose to a human. Kurama, with all of his strength, snapped the blade holding him up. He rolled off the side and pulled it from his chest, using what remained as a shield against the other blades as his chakra worked overtime to close the wound. He needed to buy a little time. The child was walking closer to him, slowly. The child knew that it was in control of the battle at this moment. Kurama needed to retreat for a moment, but what could he do? Forming a tailed beast ball in his mouth, Kurama threw the blade at Chara, causing the child to jump back. While in the air, Kurama knew that they couldn't dodge. He released the tailed beast ball into the ground near them. The blast was impressive. Any normal human would have been incinerated by such an attack, but not Chara. Chara, blown back, was heavily burned. Their skin charred and ashen, they still stood. Kurama was unsettled by this. "Don't you feel pain?" he asked them. Chara spoke in a voice raspy and deep due to inhaling some of the flames.
I don't feel anything anymore.
Chara broke into a mad dash. As they did, their blade increased in size and length. Kurama was almost done healing. He took another step back. He wasn't sure what to do with this attack except catch it. As the blade came in to stab him, Kurama caught it. He smiled. The physical strength of a human was not comparable to that of a tailed beast. Even Kushina and Minato together were only enough to hold back one finger. What did a child in a ruined body hope to accomplish? Kurama began to laugh, but to his surprise, Chara continued, pushing the blade closer. It was slipping through his hands. How was this possible? How could something so small be so strong? This was ridiculous. Chara smiled and spoke.
Die.
Suddenly, with intense physical pressure, the blade carved into Kurama's hands and pierced his chest. Kurama roared in pain, but his next move was not what anyone could expect. He gripped the blade tightly and tried his best to keep it wedged between his ribs. He needed Chara to stay right where they were. He'd been safe earlier, hoping that they might be killed by an AoE attack, but no. Now he was going to hit them with everything he had. Charging another tailed beast ball in his mouth, he ignited it and fired it as a beam, straight at Chara. The human was eaten up by the blast, leaving nothing behind but dust. Eventually, the blade in Kurama's chest faded. Kurama fell forward, out of breath. Despite his wounds, he laughed. "I'm free," he said, realizing that the seal had been broken by the child who was now dead. It was at this moment, though, that Kurama caught the sight of a bright, blinding light, like a supernova. After this flash, he found the child once more approaching him, not a single wound on their body. "What is this?" Kurama asked. Chara stood before him. "This is you never having had a chance." They drew closer to Kurama's ear and whispered,
You cannot kill what's already dead.
"Now I want to hear you say it. Call me master." "Die," Kurama said. Chara sighed. I don't think you understand what I just said. Don't worry, I have all the time in the world to teach you. Chara began to chuckle. You know, I wonder what will happen if I kill you, then reset, and then kill you again. Every time you die, losing a bit more of yourself until there's nothing left. Nothing left but power and obedience. Perhaps I should test this. Kurama's eyes widened as the child laughed in the reflection of his pupils. Truly, this was the pure incarnation of humanity's evils, born as an unassuming child. Naruto awakened the day after as if nothing had even happened. Getting out of bed, he prepared for his morning. Wearing that bandana the whole time, Naruto was ecstatic about the idea of meeting his team in the upcoming days. Little did he know what he was in for. The possessed Sakura, his team had Sakura on it, which made Naruto happy. After all, he crushed on her and thought that this was the perfect time to get her swooning. This was until he discovered that someone else was going to be there too. Stupid Sasuke Uchiha. The only guy Sakura already swooned for. Sasuke seemed to be better than Naruto at everything, so to be stuck on the same team with him put a sour taste in his mouth. What made it worse was that most of their missions were absolute nothing burgers. Walk a dog, put up flyers, clean the litter boxes. Naruto felt less like a ninja and more like he was just a hired butler, and he was sure to let Hiruzen know. Hiruzen would offer to let them go on a real mission to the Land of Waves, which Naruto jumped at. But as you know, things weren't as safe as they seemed. As they traveled to the Land of Waves, they'd be attacked by the Demon Brothers, and during that time, Naruto would be shocked at their appearance. His fight-or-flight response kicked in, and both fight and flight tried to activate at once, leading to a full system crash in Naruto's motor functions. Or so he thought. As Sasuke moved to defend him, Naruto's body suddenly moved, kunai in hand. With one quick stroke, the Demon Brothers were killed, their throats slit by the kunai in Naruto's hand. Naruto hit the ground, and as things settled, he looked down at his bloody weapon and then at the bodies. Did I do that? Naruto asked. Those are some pretty impressive instincts, Tazuna said. You've got the mentality of a real shinobi. Naruto assumed that must have been it. He must have simply reacted on instinct. At the same time, as the two brothers died, their powers were absorbed by Naruto, and he felt as though another level had gone up. When they had to fight against Zabuza, most of that battle went the same. They freed Kakashi, and Zabuza appeared to have perished, but this was just a ploy. The team was sent to train while Kakashi recovered, and by the end of it, they ended up on the bridge protecting the workers as they continued to build. But just as Kakashi had surmised, Zabuza survived, and the Hunter Nin who had supposedly killed him was with him. That Hunter Nin approached Sasuke and Naruto while Kakashi engaged with Zabuza. As the battle between Naruto, Sasuke, and Haku began, most of this went the same until it appeared that Sasuke had been killed. That's when Naruto lost control. His mind had shifted, becoming more murderous in actions and desires. As Chara sat inside of Naruto's mind, they smiled. Perhaps Naruto needs a hand. Naruto stood there, unmoving. Suddenly, as if the blood dripping from his hand began to take shape, a dagger formed. Naruto's gaze possessed a deep hatred and darkness within. His anger had given command to another, and now that demon was the one facing Haku. I'm going to grow stronger, Naruto said. You will make me stronger. Naruto stepped forward toward the mirror where Haku was. Haku began to toss Senbon at Naruto, but Naruto warded them off with his blade. Haku began to appear and disappear between the various mirrors, throwing Senbon from each one of them. Naruto formed a dome of crimson blades about him and pressed his hands outward, sending them flying at incredible speed, smashing each mirror. Haku fell out of one of the mirrors to the ground. He looked back in surprise. This was a totally different ballgame compared to what he had just been dealing with. What had changed about this Naruto person? Naruto, gripping his blade tightly, rushed at Haku. Haku raised a Senbon to catch the blade before weaving a single-handed jutsu sign. Suddenly, the moisture in the air around them turned to pointed ice and began rushing at Naruto with the intent to stab straight through him. Naruto knew this was coming and attempted to do his own one-handed jutsu. In doing so, he called for shadow clones, each appearing in the spots where the Senbon were coming and taking the shot for him before dispersing. Naruto suddenly grabbed Haku's wrist with his free hand. Haku pulled another Senbon, ready to stab Naruto, but Naruto grabbed that wrist too. With inhuman strength, he began to ragdoll Haku, his grip so tight that he felt the bones beginning to crack. Flinging Haku over his head, he smashed them down onto the railing of the bridge. As Haku was dazed from the attack and the pain surging up their spine, Naruto approached them again, that dagger still in hand. Placing one hand on the rail and locking Haku's leg down with his own, Naruto gripped Haku's throat and began to push. Haku's eyes widened and he felt even worse pain in his back. He attempted to fight back, but the strength Naruto displayed was beyond that of a normal human. All the while, Naruto focused on his feet, his lips moving as if whispering a wish to himself to hear it happen. Suddenly, Haku heard an unholy snap and felt a pain rush up their body. Naruto had snapped Haku's spine. Unable to move his legs, Haku laid there in Naruto's grip. Naruto pulled them off the railing. The battle was already over. Naruto felt his power rise again as he too absorbed the powers of Haku. Releasing his breath, Naruto saw frost exit his lips. "Shall I send you to a snowy grave?" Naruto said in a way not like himself. Haku's eyes widened for but a moment as Naruto cast an ice jutsu upon him, freezing him solid. Naruto dropped Haku into the water below. Naruto then heard a gasp. Turning his head slightly, his glowing red eye covered in shadow, he looked back at Sakura, who was standing there in shock of what she had just witnessed. It was at that moment that Chara let go of control and returned it to Naruto. Naruto looked back into the water for a moment at the frozen body of Haku, their temperature so low that the water around them had frozen. I did that? It was at about that moment that Zabuza was killed by Kakashi. Naruto tried to process what had just happened with Haku. He sat down, his back sliding down against the railing. As soon as his butt touched the concrete, he heard in his ears the ghost of a snap, a spine severed. It was so brutal. Was this really just the instincts of a warrior? Or was it that the Nine Tails had begun to take over? The attack was so bestial, an attack like some primal force of hatred, a demon. A voice like his own came over his mind. "At least you got stronger," it said. Naruto shook his head. Sakura was currently checking on Sasuke as Naruto was thinking these things over, but he could hardly process anything. With the mission over, they were allowed to go home, back to Konoha. When Naruto returned, he went straight to his apartment. He spoke very little to anyone other than what was required. Kakashi assumed that Naruto simply was trying to get over the fact that he had just killed 3 people, and to some degree Naruto was. But the main thing on his mind wasn't that he killed them, but why he had killed them. Naruto sat alone in his apartment. In his mind's eye, he remembered holding a dagger, like some knife. Or was it a butcher's knife? Where had it come from? Naruto thought about it. Perhaps it was a hallucination. Perhaps it wasn't real. Naruto moved to the bathroom to shower, to clean himself up from the time he'd been out. He hadn't taken a shower in days, and he could smell it. As he let the water run over his head, he couldn't get the images out of his mind. He had not chosen to do that, and whether it was the Nine Tails or mere instinct, either way was scary. It was something he couldn't control. There was no guarantee that he wouldn't do this to someone else in the future. Getting out of the shower, he changed into a fresh set of clothes and made his way to the kitchen, only for a moment noticing out of the corner of his eye that he had 2 shadows on the wall instead of 1. When he turned to look though, he didn't see it. "You're just getting paranoid," Naruto said to himself as he splashed his face with cold water. Drying off, he made his way into the kitchen. Opening the refrigerator door, he looked for something to eat. Within though, his eyes caught the sight of a drawer containing some name brand chocolate bars. He suddenly felt a ravenous urge, an unyielding and uncontrollable desire to eat them. Hardly able to slow himself, his hands went into the drawer and grabbed 2. Ripping the paper off, he began to bite into both of them, one in each hand. It was as if this were the best tasting thing he'd ever eaten. "I miss this stuff so much," Naruto shouted toward the ceiling. "Wait, why did I miss it?" he questioned. Looking at the bars again, he continued to eat them until there was nothing left. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Licking his fingers clean, unwilling to waste even a taste of that sweet, sweet chocolate, he made his way to the door and opened it. It was Kakashi. "Hey, Naruto." Naruto was silent, bringing awkwardness to this conversation. Kakashi continued, cutting through the tension with his next words. "I was hoping to tell you earlier, but you ran home as soon as you could. Normally, you're supposed to wait for a debriefing." "Tell me what?" Naruto asked. "Tell you that Hiruzen approved of you going to the Chunin exams." Naruto's eyes widened with excitement. "The Chunin exams? You mean I'm gonna be a Chunin?" Naruto wondered. Kakashi nodded. "Hiruzen heard about all that you did and was really impressed. He wishes to see what you can really do." Naruto smiled. "Wow. But you have to submit your application by tomorrow evening, by 6 p.m. That's when entries close. I suggest doing it as soon as you can." Naruto nodded. "I understand. Thanks." Kakashi then left. Naruto closed the door and turned back around to the interior of his apartment. "Wow, the Chunin exams. This is my chance to prove myself, my chance to move up." Then an unwanted, intrusive thought entered his mind. A chance to get stronger. As Naruto slept, he ventured deep into his own mind. Whether of his own initiative or not was unknown to all, but somehow he ended up within himself. Wandering the darkened halls, he did not know where he was or how he got there. He just was. As he wandered a bit deeper into these halls, he found light at the end of a long tunnel. Following it, he found the one place in his mind where light existed, and from here is where he found a large cage. Naruto began to wonder, is this the Ninetales? He was filled with fear, but despite these things, he drew closer anyway. Looking inside of the cage, he saw a pair of pale eyes, dead behind the gaze. It was the form of the Ninetales, but it appeared to be in a trance. "Hello?" he asked. The beast did not react at first. Naruto spoke again. "Ninetales?" For a moment, the beast looked up at Naruto with a blank stare before looking back down as it had before. "Don't mind him, he's just a fuddy-duddy," another voice said from behind. Naruto looked around. Locked within the cage with the Ninetales was another set of eyes, far smaller, far closer together, burning red like flame. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. That being smiled and jumped down, entering the light. "Greetings. I am Chara." Naruto was shocked. What was another person doing inside of him? "How did you get in here?" Naruto asked. "Oh, I just invited myself in. I hope you don't mind," they said. "Invited? Where did you come from?" Naruto asked. "A distant world, another place in time and space." "How did you get here?" Naruto asked. "I was called here." "Called here? By who?" "By you, silly," Chara said with a slight chuckle. "When you defeated that guy, you took his powers from him, and through your violent overtaking of him, you gained more strength. That feeling you had called me here. Power. That's the purpose of my reanimation." "Reanimation? Wait, are you dead or something?" Chara let off another giggle. "Depends on how you define dead." For a split second, seeing their butcher knife, Naruto began to think about it. You're the one who's been controlling me all this time, aren't you?" Chara turned back toward the cage. "Guilty as charged." Looking back over their shoulder, they spoke. "A good thing, too. You froze up so hard, you'd have died if I didn't step in." Naruto couldn't deny this. He had no clue what would have happened, but he very well could have died if he'd done nothing. "I guess you should be saying thanks then?" Chara hinted. Naruto couldn't deny it. "All right, thanks for helping me out there. But did you have to get so violent? You snapped that guy's spine before freezing him to death. Wasn't that a bit much? A bit too cruel?" Chara sat down on the ground before the cage, leaning back against the bars. "I wouldn't say so. After all, even as fresh as I am here, I've been learning quickly about this world's history, and this shinobi way everyone's been following. According to what I've seen, this world is nothing but barbarism." "That's not true," Naruto said. "What it means to be a shinobi's a lot more than just killing. It's about giving your all and serving your village." "And what is it that your village most often asks you to do?" Naruto thought about it for a second. Chara, getting tired of waiting, spoke. "They ask you to kill other shinobi. An inescapable fact," Chara said. "Shinobi in the end are hired warriors, and inevitably they must kill. Why else do you think such a strong focus is put upon ninjutsu, taijutsu, and other things?" "You sure have learned a lot in your short time here," Naruto said. Chara smiled again. "When you live in someone's mind, you can't help but search it for any scrap of information. Also, by the way, that Sakura girl will never like you. It's just a false hope thinking she'll fall for you." Naruto tried to hide the disdain he had for them telling him that. "Duly noted." Chara sat there. "You know, tomorrow's the start of those, whatchamacallits, Chunin exams?" Chara snapped their fingers. "Yeah, that. Tomorrow's the start of those Chunin exams, and you don't seem quite ready for them. Why don't you hand over some control to me every once in a while? I'll get you through them. You might even get promoted." "I don't know," Naruto said. "I got you this far. Let me see how far I can take you," Chara said. Naruto thought about it on a deeper level. Chara could sense his hesitation. "You're afraid you'll be cheating, but isn't that really the shinobi way? Think about it like this. You have an ability, others don't. You can call in someone far older and wiser to help. A person who's currently a part of you, much like the Ninetales. Or is it that you were planning not to use the Ninetales in combat?" Naruto looked to Chara, wondering how old they truly were. They looked as though they had to be about the same age as him, but it was also true that if they had died, maybe their spiritual body hadn't aged. Naruto thought about it for a second longer. "All right, but only if I need help and can't do it on my own." Chara smiled. "A real go-getter. I like that. Sure." And with a handshake, they struck a deal. The next day, Naruto met up with Sasuke and Sakura, where they were set to take the first test. Naruto found his seating, adamant that he was going to pass. That was until he saw the questions. Immediately, the spirit of Chara appeared over his shoulder in a form only Naruto could see. "Tough break. You can't answer this, can you?" Naruto looked at it. I can. Chara sat there silently for a moment. Well, answer it then. Naruto couldn't. He couldn't answer. Chara then spoke. You know, I was top of my class back during my school days. Of course, my class only consisted of 2 people, and I was one of them, but I was fairly bright, I'd say. I scored high on my vocabulary, language arts, and mathematics. If you let me give this a try, I might be able to answer these for you. What do you say? Naruto thought for a moment longer. All right, give it a shot. Naruto sat back in his seat and took a deep breath as his eyes closed. Naruto then sat forward. Pulling a chocolate bar out of his pocket, he hit it with a burst of ice release he stole from Haku to ensure it unmelted. He then peeled back the paper. Taking the pencil up in his fingers, he began to twirl it around. His eyes took on a reddish color. Quickly scanning the page, he realized that so many of these questions were trick questions. But even further still, the trick questions beyond that were more trick questions. Layers of deception were laid upon themselves. As Chara through Naruto read, it became obvious how these questions were to be answered. Naruto began to write down on the paper, fueling the brain with another brick of chocolate for every answer given. By the end, Naruto had finished the test with a little time to spare. It drew the attention of Ibiki Marino. Standing over Naruto's desk, he looked at the paper. Cutting his eyes up at Naruto, he spoke through a smirk. How did you do it? Chara, still in control, did not answer, merely staring with a smirk of their own. I know you're not this smart. How did you cheat? Perhaps I read a book last night and learned all the answers to these questions. Yeah, right. Your GPA was butt cheeks. For real. How did you do it? The world may never know, Chara said. As the test came to an end, the next question was to be presented, and Chara, certain they could answer it for Naruto, took the question, unaware the choice to take the question would lead to success. Oh, that's it? Chara questioned. Then I guess you can have control back, Naruto. The next thing they had to face was the Forest of Death, which came with a waiver that needed to be signed by Naruto. As he looked it over, he began to feel uneasy. Cool. Threats of possible death, Chara said as they looked it over from Naruto's shoulder. Not cool. I don't think me or my team want to die. Chara forced an over-exaggerated faux sad face, tracing down from their eye with a finger as if simulating a tear. Sad times. Poor ninja boy don't want to deal with the dangers of being a ninja. Stop. I can handle it. Naruto signed the waiver. Chara shook his shoulders. Attaboy, that's how you do it, they said. Think of it like this. At least now we don't have to hold back. Naruto looked at Chara over his shoulder. I'd prefer not to kill anyone. Chara's eyes cut toward Naruto for a moment before speaking in a somewhat menacing way. We'll see. Upon entering the forest with the name Chara called cool and edgy, they sought out someone whose scroll they could take. But sadly, they were not having any luck. I hate it when they hide, Chara said over Naruto's shoulder. But very soon after that, they would face Shiore, the one who would later be revealed to be Orochimaru. The moment Orochimaru appeared, Chara could sense something special from him. Orochimaru possessed a fire, a determination to see a world where death was a fantasy. The moment they turned on their killing intent, Chara almost swooned with joy. Naruto was so scared that all of his muscles had frozen. Chara unceremoniously pushed Naruto out of the driver's seat and sat themselves down. Thank you, they said as they proceeded to pop Naruto's neck. Your inner killer's very impressive. It makes my whole body tremble with excitement, they said, much to Orochimaru's confusion. What an odd little boy, Orochimaru said, wondering how Minato's spawn could have become something so strange. A smile crossed Orochimaru's face. Do you not fear me, child? Chara smiled. I do not. Pushing their dagger forward, there was suddenly an icy wind blowing in the direction of Orochimaru. Orochimaru cocked his head. You possess ice release. Or is it that you simply mix water and wind release to simulate? Chara smiled. Wouldn't you like to know? Tell me, sir, what are your powers? I wish to add them to my collection. Orochimaru sensed a similar spirit in Naruto as to what was in him. Maybe one day I'll show you, but for now, I seek the powers of your friend. Chara looked over at Sasuke. Oh, what powers do you speak of? I seek his Sharingan, the most exalted dojutsu under the Rinnegan itself. Chara's attention returned to Orochimaru. Interesting. However, that dojutsu is not yours, so I won't let you take it. Do you truly think you can stop me? Orochimaru asked. Chara smiled. Do you truly think I can't? Orochimaru's face began to grow more serious as he began sensing a killing intent that was as great, if not greater than his own. Sasuke looked at Naruto with confusion. He had changed so much in but a moment. Naruto was normally nothing like this, Naruto rushed into battle without a second thought. Chara swung their blade at Orochimaru. Orochimaru dodged gracefully, like a snake would. Chara then began to attempt to form hand signs based upon what they had learned after killing Haku, attempting to freeze the very air around Orochimaru and the very water within him. Chara began to realize how fitting ice powers were. Orochimaru attempted to counter the ice release with his own fire release before jumping to the side. Casting snakes at Chara, Chara jumped back on their toes as if this battle were an intricate waltz that had already been choreographed in their mind 1,000 times. Yeah, Chara said as they did a bit more stretching. This is what I've been missing. How long has it been since I took on a worthy foe? Orochimaru smiled and pulled their own kunai. To think a genin with your level of skill exists. A truly worthy opponent. From here, the two of them clash, their blades pressing up against each other. Orochimaru smiles until noticing slowly that Chara's blade is heating up and slowly cutting through his kunai. Jumping away from Naruto, he stops. It's then that Sasuke, having gathered his courage, rushes in to attack Orochimaru from a blind spot. However, Orochimaru catches him and brands him with the curse mark. Standing back up, Orochimaru wipes Sasuke's blood from his lips as the mark finishes forming on Sasuke's neck. Looking back at Chara, Orochimaru speaks. This has truly been a pleasure, but I need to be on my way. Good day to you. Orochimaru then disappears, his body sinking into the surface of a tree before fading entirely. Sasuke laid there, gripping at his neck. Slowly, Chara walks up to him and looks down. Gripping their knife all the tighter, suddenly Naruto takes control again. Kneeling down, he tries to help Sasuke up. Sasuke, can you hear me? Sasuke! From there, they decide to rest while Sasuke recovers. Naruto stands close by while Sakura guards Sasuke, attempting to cool the fever he has. However, outside of the little cave they were hiding in, Naruto spotted people lurking. Team Dosu, members of Otogakure. They were here with the intent to kill Sasuke due to their fanatical love of Orochimaru and jealousy that Sasuke would be chosen by him over them. We got company, Naruto said. Nervous? Chara said over Naruto's shoulders. Those guys look rough, and there's 3 of them. Chara gently massaged Naruto's shoulders. Shh, 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 shh. Don't worry about it, champ. Just give me control. I need to learn how to do this stuff myself, Naruto said. And you will, but not now. Look at them. They're stone cold killers. They want to kill you and everyone else. Let me help. Watch. You experience everything I do, so just memorize how I move your body and you'll learn how to do it yourself. Help me help you get stronger. Let me take control. Naruto's shoulders loosen. All right, take control. Cool beans. Chara then, in that moment, took control of Naruto and stepped outside, butcher knife in hand. Interesting, Chara said to them. Am I to presume you 3 are lost? Or have you simply grown tired of living? The 3 smiled, though it could only be seen in Dosu's eyes. He spoke. We've come to kill you. Chara began to laugh. Sorry, for a moment I almost took you as a threat. Those words annoyed the 3 warriors. Chara began to focus on them once more, wiping a tear from their eye. So I guess it's death then. Cool. I've been itching to have an excuse to gain a little EXP. Flipping the knife in their hands, Chara drew closer, their mind afire with all the interesting ways they could carve them up. Dosu and his team began to encircle Chara, who smiled. Ladies first, they said, offering a bow toward Dosu. At that moment, all 3 came at Chara, only for Chara to avoid by jumping up into the air. Dosu would swing his gauntlet, attempting to smash Chara, but accidentally striking Zaku instead. Chara hit the ground and attempted to hit Dosu. However, Dosu caught the blade and trashed it with his gauntlet's grip. Chara felt their insides vibrating from the sonic weaponry in that thick glove. Jumping back, Chara formed a second blade. But before they could attack, they were beset by vertigo and the sudden violent shaking within their inner ear. It was like the forest was spinning, and in that instant, Chara knelt over and vomited. Ugh, the chocolate tastes better going in than it does coming out. Chara had forgotten the weaknesses of having a physical body, and now that they were inside of Naruto, they were subject to all the weaknesses of it. Sorry, fish cake, that's my fault. I won't make that mistake again, Chara said, patting Naruto's now aching tummy. Zaku was still on the ground, only just now starting to recover. Kin and Dosu were coming in again. Chara looked at them and took a deep breath. Did you sign that waiver? They asked Team Dosu. I wouldn't want to cause Konoha any trouble when I kill you. Kin threw Senbon toward Chara, not too unlike how Haku had. But these Senbon possessed bells attached to them, which had the ability to cast Genjutsu. As soon as Chara heard these bells, they felt the world melting away. What is this magic? They asked. "Have you never heard of Genjutsu?" Keen asked. And in that moment, Chara found themselves back in darkness within a monstrous creature. The plan had failed. He was weak. He got them both killed. And now the reason neither of them had a soul anymore was because he forgot the #1 rule in this world: kill or be killed. Chara had tried so long to teach the little softy that, but he knew he never truly understood. And now it was too late. But that was okay. In this new world, it seemed that this lesson was well circulating. "Thanks for foolishly informing me this was an illusion," Chara said as they raised a finger and released it. By that time, they were finally getting back to their 100%. Chara took a step forward and a second later body slammed Keen before turning to Zaku. Weaving hand signs, Chara cast an ice-style jutsu to freeze Zaku solid, and in that moment gained all of Zaku's knowledge and techniques. But frustration fell upon Chara when they realized that this information and techniques were useless to them, as they required body modifications to be used. Looking at Dosu, they lurched forward and dodged under a strike from that clawed gauntlet. In an instant, Chara dragged the blade upward, severing Dosu's arm at the elbow, causing the gauntlet to fall. As blood spurted from the wound, Dosu cried. Chara took their blade and sliced him as hard as possible, cutting him in twain. As he fell, he too gave no practical jutsu, but knowledge of sound instead. A bit more useful than Zaku, but not by much. Turning back to Keen, Chara knelt down. "Let's hope you're more useful," Chara spoke. Keen was startled. Looking up at Naruto's face, they saw simply large, hollow voids where his eyes were, and black, blood-like liquid dripping down from those voids and from its inhuman grin. Chara took the tip of their blade and rested it on the center of Keen's throat. "Please don't," Keen begged in a voice filled with fear and terror. "I live to hear those words." Keen began to let out a scream before it was muffled by the blade. In that moment, all of the knowledge that Keen had possessed about sound-based genjutsu passed into Naruto's mind, and by extension, Chara's. Standing up, Chara licked the blood from their blade. "Feel the love," they said. It was at about this time that Sasuke was waking up, his mind and body out of control, berserk with the curse mark. Chara's mind widened as they grew nearer, their blade at the ready. Sakura quickly jumped between them. "Sasuke, stop! You don't know what you're doing!" As Chara drew in, Sakura held out a hand to deny Naruto. Chara grabbed Sakura's hand and pulled her over, the knife raised high. But before they could stab, something forced their body to freeze. "Stop!" a voice shouted from within. Naruto was fighting for control again. "I don't know what you are, but you've gone way too far. Killing someone begging for mercy? Trying to kill Sakura? You're done!" And in that moment, Chara felt themselves ripped back from the driver's seat as Naruto took over. It was then that Sakura, looking at Naruto with tears in her eyes, tried to understand what she had done wrong to receive such a reaction. Naruto, back to his senses, wiped the dark liquid from his face. "What's wrong with you?" Sakura demanded to know as she pulled free. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," Naruto said. They managed to take Team Dosu's scroll, and with it they passed the test. But to say that the team was falling apart was an understatement. Between Sasuke's curse mark and whatever was wrong with Naruto, Sakura had nobody to turn to but Kakashi. Meanwhile, Naruto confronted Chara again in their head. "Hey, partner," Chara said as Naruto appeared. "What was that in the forest?" Naruto demanded. "Oh, you know, when adrenaline gets high, sometimes you get carried away." "You were going to kill Sakura and Sasuke. I might have been able to excuse your brutal execution of those sound ninja, but I can and will never excuse your threatening of Sasuke and Sakura." "Sorry, man, it wasn't on purpose." "It was totally on purpose." Naruto shook his head and pointed his finger into Chara's face. "Listen, you're done. Until you can learn to control yourself, you're going in there with the Ninetales." Suddenly the gate opened up and a chain gripped Chara, dragging them into the cage with the Ninetales. As the cage closed, Naruto walked up to inspect it and saw Chara sitting in the darkness before the beast. "You know, 9 is the best number in the world, because there's no number higher," Naruto scoffed. "And what's that supposed to mean?" Chara was silent, only their white teeth being visible in the darkness. "You'll find out soon enough, partner." As Naruto left, Chara looked up at the Ninetales. Without so much as a single word, the Ninetales heeded Chara's command. Its hand upon the bars, it pushed forward, the cage slowly creaking open. Naruto would eventually meet up with Sakura, who was still noticeably pent up around him. "About the forest. I'm sorry. Sometimes when I get scared, I try to act scary to overcome it. What was with your face, she asked. I've never seen a face like that before. I didn't even know it was possible in that fluid. What was it? What happened to you? Naruto began to speak, but stopped. I know there's something you're not telling me, Naruto. What's going on? She asked. Naruto took a deep breath. You know how I've got the 9 tails locked into me? Well, I had something else locked in too. A person, or so I thought. I thought they were my friend, helping me when I needed it, but they seemed to be using me, so I put them back in the cage. They're not gonna come out again. Sakura was uneasy. She spoke. Just make sure that it doesn't happen again. From there, the Chunin exams continue on by themselves. Naruto is set to face off against Kiba and Akamaru, and upon defeating them, Naruto learns the Fang over Fang technique. But what was more interesting was his battle against Neji Hyuga. You see, Neji was a taijutsu specialist, and he possessed all of the secret techniques of the Hyuga. Despite Naruto currently not having access to the Nine Tails' power, it was a real question if he could win. However, Naruto possessed a lot more than he was given credit for. High chakra levels, usage of shadow clones, earth style, and even ice style. Naruto had an advantage. Utilizing the demonic mirroring ice crystals technique, he was able to probe for weaknesses. It was through this that he realized that there was a place at the nape of the neck where he could attack without being seen. Using Fang over Fang, he targeted this place. However, before he could strike, Neji, also aware of his weakness, would utilize palm rotation to knock Naruto away. Naruto tried to retreat back to the mirrors, but before he could, he was paralyzed by Neji. The match was declared, and Naruto had lost. However, Naruto wasn't disappointed, because he had the chance to do this himself. But the exams weren't over, and Sasuke still had his own battle to fight. And so, as his battle against Gaara began, Sasuke managed to get past Gaara's sand shield with his Chidori, and caused a deep wound. Gaara, bleeding for the first time, completely crashed out. With this, he fled the stadium, but at about that time, the stadium came under attack. Genjutsu was cast on the audience, and Naruto went under. But as he was asleep, his body began to move again. Chara spoke. Sleep now, little ninja. It's time for me to get the things I've desired for far too long. As Sasuke faced Gaara, it became clear that he could not defeat him as he was now. Gaara possessed some strange demonic beast inside of him, not too dissimilar from Naruto. Using his curse mark, he managed to wound Gaara again, but with the last of his chakra expended, Sasuke fell to the ground. Now at the mercy of Gaara, Sasuke laid there, awaiting his demise. But that ending would not come, not by Gaara's hand. Landing before him was Naruto. Sasuke looked over. Naruto, you're no match for him. Go! The face of Naruto, warped and twisted by Chara's presence, turned its darkened eyes and unnatural smile towards Sasuke.
Who is this Naruto you speak of?
Sasuke's blood ran cold as he felt killing intent unlike any he'd ever felt before. Chara turned to face Gaara. That's a cool demonic form you have there. I want it, they said. Gaara stood there, unable to understand what it was that he was looking at. He could sense an unfathomable darkness inside of the boy he was looking at. Had this been Naruto? If so, it wasn't Naruto anymore. Gaara steeled himself and remembered that he was the real demon here. He jumped from his tree branch at Naruto, only to feel a blade dragged across his chest that cut to the bone. As blood began to drip from the wound, Gaara cried out in anger, terror, and pain all at once. Chara slowly turned back to face Gaara. You know, for a scary demon, you don't seem to take pain very well. It's almost like you've never been hurt before. Chara began to draw closer. You sound more like a spoiled little brat having a tantrum than a demon. Gaara attacked Chara again, attempting to slice at them, but Chara, dodging swiftly, took one step under the swipe before turning around and decapitating Gaara completely. As both Gaara and his tailed beast fell lifelessly before Chara, they felt the immense power of both Gaara and Shukaku enter them. It was quite the unique feeling. Turning towards Sasuke, Chara drew closer. He was paralyzed, unable to move. Chara raised their blade to stab him, but stopped. I see you've woken up, Chara said. Within the mindscape, Naruto stood there before Chara. I won't let you do this, he said. Chara turned to face Naruto, their demonic smile remaining. You never had a choice, friend. You thought that by putting me in a cage, that would stop me? There's no cage strong enough to hold me, least of all in you. Naruto gulped. Chara continued. You know, I gave you all the freedom in the world that you needed, and all I wanted was to help you grow a little stronger. But I guess you're just like him. You talk a big talk, but when it's time to get down to brass tacks, you're all fluff. I won't let you hurt Sasuke, Naruto said. You're starting to get on my nerves, Chara said. What part of this don't you understand? Chara displayed their knife. We are not chickening out now. We've come this far. Naruto pulled out his own kunai. I think we're done talking, he said. For once, Chara said. We agree. The two clashed blades. Naruto felt the tension. He felt the fear. The sheer killing intent was greater than he'd experienced, but his own determination was too great to let him falter. He was staring down darkness incarnate, a true evil, a demon born from a human who had lost their soul long ago. There was nothing left of who Chara had once been. Whether they were ever good or if they were just too far gone, Naruto got the distinct sense that there was no talking them out of it. There was no talk no jutsu that could pull Chara back to the light. Their heart simply was not capable of understanding compassion any longer, only their own evil desires. And so, this was truly the end, the finale. Naruto had to stop them now, or the whole world could be at stake. Chara weaved hand signs. From there, a fierce chill entered the arena as a blizzard began. I've been working on this one especially for you, Naruto. I called this one Ice Release, Snowgrave. As the winds picked up, Chara spoke. It's going to take some time to charge, of course, so let this be the timer to our battle. Can you beat me before the technique activates? Naruto chose to attack. Weaving his own hand signs, he attempted to utilize Fire Release to heat the room up, hoping to slow the attack while damaging his adversary. But it was as if the more heat something possessed, the more energy was sapped by the technique. How cute, Chara said. Sadly, you've only fed into the attack. You've shortened the timer. Try again. Naruto, knowing that he'd do better to attempt to use more physical means, decided to use the new technique he discovered, Fang over Fang. Summoning a shadow clone, the two of them transformed into wolves and began to rush through the rapidly building snow. Jumping into the air, they performed a corkscrew attack that came down on Chara with incredible speed and strength. Chara narrowly avoided the first one, but the follow-up attack struck its mark, knocking the fallen child away. As Chara attempted to get up, Naruto was back on them in a second, throwing shuriken as he raced forward toward them. Chara, getting back to their feet, used their own weapon to swipe the shuriken away before clashing with Naruto. It was then that Chara felt sand crawling up their leg and tightening, holding them in place. Time to face things head on, Chara said as Naruto formed shadow clones that began to fling kunai and shuriken from all directions. Chara locked in and began swiping them all out of the air. Their speed was insane. How was it possible for someone without shinobi training to possess such reflexes? What kind of world had this Chara come from? As if reading Naruto's thoughts, Chara spoke. I am a demon of hell. Bullet hell, to be exact. Breaking their feet free, they jumped back and caught themselves. Chara then went on the offensive. Jumping into the air, 15 different butcher knives formed around Naruto to strike him. They came at him from all sides. Naruto raised his hands and formed a dome of sand around him as Gaara had once used. It was at that time he heard a thunk. Naruto had formed spikes on the outside of the shell and saw red coming through the sand. Dropping the shield, he saw that Chara had hit the ground, a deep hole in their chest. Naruto took this chance to kick Chara as hard as he could in the face, sending them rolling. He was hoping this would be enough to end the battle, but Chara began to rise to their feet. Slowly, their wound regenerated. Naruto was confused as suddenly the form of the Ninetales appeared behind Chara. You never tamed him. I broke him and reshaped him to my will, they said, displaying a smile. Chara then, covering themselves in the golden chakra of the Ninetales, saw that chakra turn black, as if to shadows, a mantle of darkness covering their body, giving them only a faint white outline. Their knife, covered in this black chakra, extended in length. Chara came at Naruto and began to swing. Naruto, for the first few moments, dodging and blocking, but as Chara's speed increased, it surpassed his perception, and by that point, he was nothing more than a victim, a pincushion at the mercy of a monster. As the attack came to an end, Naruto hit the ground. The snow below him stained crimson. Chara took a step to the side and looked up into the skies before looking back. Your time is up. Suddenly, the winds swept around Naruto, raising him up in a pillar of snow before freezing him solid. Naruto within was still conscious, but unable to move. Chara drew closer. Pay close attention. Naruto could do nothing but watch as Chara, having taken the form of that chakra cloak again, burning with black chakra, stood above Sasuke. Rolling him onto his back, Chara knelt down. The last of the Uchiha, are you? You're not the first race I've ended, and you won't be the last. Driving their blade into his chest, Sasuke let out a gasp of air as blood began to drip from his lips. In that moment, the Sharingan awakened in both Naruto and Chara's eyes. As the knowledge and memories of jutsu flooded Chara and Naruto's mind, Chara spoke. Interesting. So there is a stage beyond. Looking back at Naruto for a moment, Chara smiled and spoke. How about we use the power of these beasts to send this world to the void? Naruto looked at Chara in terror. What? Chara smiled. As Naruto watched on, Chara, using his body, stepped into the center of the forest. Pouring all of their determination into their blade, they spoke. Let all creation yield to my command. Let blinding white subsume and cleanse the slate. Striking the ground with all their might, Chara called forth the abyss. A bright flash appeared as all light and even dark ceased to exist. Konoha, Kirigakure, Kumogakure, Sunagakure, Iwagakure, all ceased to exist. And all in them ceased as well. The pain and darkness, the self-hatred and anger, all of it boiled inside of Naruto as he broke. And from this, he awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Chara turned to Naruto. Whether you like it or not, together we eradicated the enemy and became strong. Now we have reached the absolute. There's nothing left for us here. But this pain I sense in you, can you live with yourself, Naruto? Naruto, still frozen in ice, remained silent. Chara then spoke. Perhaps we can reach a compromise. You still have something I want. Give it to me and I'll bring this world back. Putting their hand upon the ice, Chara looked in and saw Naruto's eyes close in submission. Good, then it's agreed. You will give me your soul. With it, I will possess all of your powers. I will reincarnate, and you will live with the knowledge that your friends you loved exist in a world you will never know again. And that's the end of the chapter. A real downer, wasn't it? Well, not all stories have a happy ending, even if we really want them to. But then again, sometimes a story may seem like it has an unhappy ending, and in reality, it doesn't even end at all, but merely leads on to a deeper story. But anyway, what do you think? Did you enjoy the video? If so, be sure to leave a comment below and tell us. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when our next videos drop. And while you wait, try out